Good morning YouTube and welcome back to the channel. On today's final video for 2022 on the E46 M3, we'll be putting the car away for winter hibernation. It's that time of year when the roads are grimy here in the UK. It won't be long till there's salt around and that's where the damage will start occurring. So join me on today's video where we're going to do a few odds and sods around the car, put the new badge on, sort the brake pedal out, also trim the heat shield for the carbon airbox and give it a deep clean of jacking it up, removing the wheels and cleaning in the arches. So stay tuned. So some really fast jobs to tick off the list was a new BMW badge for the front that had unfortunately got stone chipped and sort out the brake pedal that had simply popped off. Interior cleaning wise, I went with just hoovering the car. The reason I didn't want to use a wet vac is I don't want any moisture in there because unfortunately if it's sat for a couple of months that can all start building up in the interior and you can come back to a right mess. So come spring again, I would like to obviously get the interior properly wet vac and give it a good going over. On to the front cleaning. So unfortunately, lowered card life, I can't just put the trolley jack straight under onto the central jacking point. I do have to jack the car up onto some wood, lower it back down, slide the jack under the front, and then I can get it up on some axle stands to safely work on the car. And like I say, you don't want to do any damage by not having it on axle stands because I have seen trolley jacks compress over the years. So it's always worth making sure the car is properly mounted when you are working on the arches or anything on the front assembly when it's in the air. Cleaning products wise, I don't use anything too aggressive really. I use some Built Hamber snow foam just to blast the loose stuff off, and then I've got some Bilberry wheel cleaner that I've used in a muck off bottle just for the braking area to clean the calipers and the hubs, and it works really well. Like I say, as you can hopefully see, it's really cleaned all the car up, and then it's just simply a case of airlining and drying everything out, using some vinyl rubber care to treat all the trims, and then I use something called ACF 50, which is, it's like a corrosion protection spray. Think of WD-40 on steroids. It's really popular in the bike world, and I use this just to clean all the metal up and obviously protect things like the O-rings, making sure you don't get anything on the discs. Another super satisfying thing is getting the wheels cleaned, especially in the barrels, because like I say, you don't get good access to those for the rest of the year to clean them. It makes a nice change to be able to give them a deep clean, and then I put all the tyre pressures up to 3 bar, which is about 45 psi, just as it's going to be sitting in the same spot for a couple of months to hopefully prevent the tyres going square. But obviously you do need to remember to put the pressures back down again when you get the car back out. With daylight stopping play after about 2 hours, it was then time to move on to the rears the following afternoon. And again, because the car's too low, I can't get to the rear jacking point. And as you'll see in the clip, do not jack on the diff itself. There's actually the brace on the subframe right in front of the diff that you mount the rear on. But again, like I've mentioned, because the car's so low, I have to jack it up onto the wood to then be able to get round to the back. And the same as the front, I just snow foamed everything, then used the Bilberry wheel cleaner to clean all the braking components, and dried and treated everything with ACF 50 or vinyl rubber care for the plastic trims, keeping everything looking fresh, along with the barrel of the rear wheels as well. So on to the heat shield, or the cowling for the cooling fan assembly. Now on the genuine CSL setup, you don't actually run this trim, they don't have it. But I do like it because it diverts all the hot air to the back of the engine bay. Otherwise you could end up with it sort of seeping towards the intake, giving you hot intake temperatures. So what I'm going to do is essentially trim this back. You can see I've put some black tape on there when I went out for the last drive, just to stop it rubbing potentially, but it hasn't, so we'll cut that back now. With the heat shield trimmed, it looks absolutely fantastic because I've got that OEM look, and it's no longer got risk of rubbing on that beautiful carbonaceous intake system. So that's another job ticked off the list. It was then on to giving it the final outside clean, a quick go over with a clay bar to remove any contaminants in the paintwork, and then get the old girl covered up for the next couple of months.